Hey there, Matthew Armstrong here, and this is day 4 of 100 days to create financial freedom, not only in my life but in your life as well. And if you haven't already watched it, make sure you watch video 1. It's very important that you watch these videos sequentially all the way to 100 to get the massive shift, massive transformation that you're looking for. So make sure you go to video 1 first of all, watch that, and then watch them sequentially, and then you'll get to this one. And you want to join the team, get involved, click on the link below and you can do that as well. That's the vehicle that we're using, that I'm using to create financial freedom, and those that choose to join right now as well are going to be as part of that as well, creating the massive transformations. So what I want to talk about today is something that's going to transform your life, because my thinking is, before I make a video, I'm not just thinking, oh, I just want to give out some information or anything like that. I actually think I want to transform your life. I want you to watch this video, and after you finish watching this video, that your life is in some way transformed. It might not look like it on the outside. Someone might walk in and they're not going to go, whoa, look at you, you've transformed your life. It's just not like that. But if we can sometimes just get a little shift in the mind, a new distinction, a new understanding, releasing a limiting belief, clearing some space out in the mind, that can completely transform our lives. We're here, we just get that little shift, and we go through like another week and we don't see much happening, but you go through another month, and another 2 months, another 3 months, suddenly your life's completely different, right? And it can just be from one little shift, one little distinction that makes you transform. So that's my intention. My intention is to transform, my purpose is to transform lives, and I do that through transforming my own life, because I believe that the best way to lead is to lead by example. Best way to transform lives, transform your own life, and then teach what you're doing at the same time. That's what I do. So, learn, do, teach. It's an amazing thing that can completely give you a life that most people will never ever have, because they don't actually get that thing, learn, do, teach, all at the same time. So not to go too far off track, great story. 2 monks, which is very, very relevant to this video, by the way. 2 monks, they were walking along a riverbed, and they come across a woman that wanted to get to the other side, 2 Japanese monks, and she's in the full traditional kimono gear, and the river's quite fast flowing. She needs to get the other side, and the bridge is down, and she doesn't know what to do. She needs to get home to her kids and everything. So the monk agrees, and he picks her up and he carries her across the river, and he sets her down the other side. The other monk just couldn't believe his eyes that this monk had picked up this woman. They have these vows of chastity, these vows to not speak to women or to touch women, very, very strict vows. And so he just couldn't believe his eyes, and he was just pent up, and they carried on walking anyway, because it was going against his belief system and everything. And they carried on walking, and after another few hours of walking through the hills, he just couldn't contain himself anymore. And he turned around to the monk and he said, I can't believe you touched that woman. I can't believe you spoke to that woman. I can't believe you picked that woman up and carried her across. That goes completely against our vows. It's ruined my day. And he just kept on complaining and blaming the monk for ruining his day. And he just ruined my day. I've just been thinking about it the whole time. And when he finished complaining and blaming the monk for all this stuff, the monk turned around and says, interesting. I put that woman down hours ago, but you're still carrying her. Which brings us to the topic of today's video, and that is something that I got some distinctions in a number of years ago, and that is the difference between taking responsibility and not taking responsibility. And people who don't take responsibility, there may be 2 types of people in this world. There's 2 types of lots of different things, but there's 2 types of people in the world. People that take responsibility and people that don't take responsibility. So what are the people that don't take responsibility doing? The people that don't take responsibility are, I'm going to use whiteboard because I want to learn whiteboard stuff. They're blaming. If you don't take responsibility, what are you doing? You might either blaming, other thing, complaining, like the monk. He was blaming and complaining about the monk, carrying the woman across, and then blaming him for ruining his day by doing that acting, going against their beliefs and everything. And the third thing is justifying. Yeah, justifying. And those are the 3 things. If we're not taking responsibility, we're either doing one of those things, we're blaming, complaining, or justifying. And up here, we want to rise above all that, but we want to take responsibility. Responsibility for our lives, responsibility for our actions, responsibility for our thoughts, responsibility for our environment. And what I found was, if we're doing these three things here, we're actually in a place of suffering. I notice it. I notice it. I notice the people that are living here, they're suffering. They're always suffering. Like the monk walking up the river, he was suffering that whole time. He was suffering because he was blaming, he was complaining, he was doing all these things, you know? The other monk had completely let it go. He was just carrying on his day. Because he takes responsibility for his life. Taking responsibility, there's no suffering in taking responsibility. There is something, and there can be pain. Sometimes there can be pain taking responsibility, but no suffering. And there's a difference between pain and suffering. And if you understand that difference, then you'll be empowered. If you understand that difference and think, well, yeah, sometimes pain is good. Pain is our friend. We learn from pain. Suffering, there's no good in that. There's no good. It's something we need to let go of in our lives, is suffering. When we let go of suffering, are you letting go of blaming, complaining, and justifying? Might feel pain sometimes. Sometimes taking responsibility is painful. You know, we gotta just, and just take responsibility. And sometimes it's painful. Sometimes, it's like all this here is, a big thing is excuses. And that generally comes in the justifying. But that's like an overall thing, is the excuses in our life that we use to why we can't do the things that we want to do, live the dreams we want to live. And that's excuses. And underneath excuses, the umbrella of excuses, you've got that justifying, complaining, blaming in there. What's the reason? I couldn't do it because of this, because of him, because of her, because, the economy, whatever. Complaining about it. This stuff doesn't work, I don't like such and such. 1 second. Let's get a bit loud. And justifying. Justifying is one that it's a tricky one. It lurks in the shadows because you can justify, you're not justifying. You know what I mean? So justifying is one that we can. You got to have a very sort of good sensory acuity to find the justifying weed. I call it, they're like weeds in the mind. You have the blaming weed, the complaining weed, and the justifying weed. And once you pull those weeds out, it clears a big load of space. A big load of space in your mind where you can have energy to do the things you want to do. You see the people that are getting great results in the world, being really productive and doing great things. You'll find that because their energy is so focused, because they're not blaming, not complaining. Straight away when something happens, a lot of people go, straight away when they want to blame someone, or they want to complain about it, or they want to justify their point of view or what's happened to them. And if that's not there, then what do? Well, there's no excuses then. We just take the actions we need to take. Whatever you need to take, you do it. And so the people I want to work with, the people I want to be with, the people I want to spend my time with, the people I want to hang out with, are those people. People who take responsibility for their lives. And so folks that are in this place, blaming, complaining, justifying, they don't generally spend much time with me because I don't feed off that, they can't feed off me with that. Some people that, two blamers, they'll be sitting together, what about this, what about this, what about this, two complainers, the same thing, it's like energetic sort of tennis, bouncing it back and forth, and it just wears you out. And when you take responsibility, all that stuff falls away, and people who are in this place have a hard time being with people that are in this space. And either one or two things happens. Either they step up and they also take responsibility by spending time with people who take responsibility. There comes a time when you either step up to that place, or you step out and you just get out of there and you go and spend time with more people that like to blame, complain, and justify. Pain and suffering, very, very crucial distinction. You get that. And you meet the most successful people in whatever field it's in, whether they're athletes, whether they're successful in business, in whatever it is, they're not blaming, complaining, and justifying at the top level. They're not. They take responsibility for their lives, and by doing that, it's very, very powerful. It's very, very empowering. That is a place of empowerment. That is a place of disempowerment. Get those distinctions and get them right now. I'm transmitting that to you right now. Get it right now. Just have an awareness. Sit there for a moment, open a clear space, and have an awareness of this. Don't just listen and hear the words I'm saying. Actually bring them into your consciousness and open up a space to allow these three things to fall away, and make a commitment right now for the next 30 days. You're gonna take responsibility. And by doing that, these things will fall away. But the thing is, these things will creep back in. Every time they creep back in, cancel it. Take responsibility. And the more you do it, the more you'll be able to do it. You might find yourself going off in some sort of rant of complaining or blaming or justifying or whatever. And after cutting that off, it becomes less. Sometimes a few seconds, then you cut it off. Then after a while, it just doesn't exist anymore. So that's it for today. Make sure you click on the link below and join the team if you want. It's entirely up to you. Like I said, you watch these 100 videos, whether you join my team or not, it doesn't matter. You're going to get so much out of them. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Your life will be absolutely transformed. But where the rubber meets the road, if you want to create financial freedom, then yes, we have the best vehicle, in my opinion, to do that. Simple as that. Okay, my name is Matthew Armstrong. Make sure you tune in tomorrow and do all the subscribing, the liking, or unliking. I'm cool with both, but I do prefer likes. And make sure you share the videos and join the team.